Over the years, we have gotten many different types of horror games, once filled with jump scares like Five Nights at Freddy's, or dark and gore-filled games like Outlast. Both of these games are completely different on how they deliver their scares and the gameplay in general. In FNAF, you're confined in a small room, fighting for your life by conserving power and keeping the animatronics at bay. The animatronics jumping into your face to scare you for a game over. While in Outlast, you explore an insane asylum where deranged lunatics are out to get you, chasing you around and brutally killing you if you get caught. This is the extremely interesting thing about the horror genre in general. There are many ways a game creator can unsettle their players, providing a variety of different reactions depending on what the player thinks is scary. While some may think jump scares in FNAF are boring, others might genuinely be afraid to see them, and those desensitized by gore may not feel as affected by the scenes in Outlast. But you know what these games have in common? Hallways. The spooky, empty kinds. Ooh, oh no. Liminal spaces are an extremely interesting type of horror. Rather than being filled with jump scares and monsters, the scary parts of these games are the liminal spaces themselves. These games are basically glorified walking simulators, but scary. Why is it like that? Well, first of all, we must know exactly what a liminal space is. When I go through liminal space discussions, they post empty hallways, rooms, beaches, malls. If we look up the history of a liminal space, the concept was created back in the 1900s by anthropologist Arnold van Gennep. The concept of liminality is a traditional or intermediate state or place that can be physical, emotional, or metaphorical. So think of it as a middle area between two rooms. When you go to the lobby of your hotel room, the hallway that you'll have to walk through is the liminal space. This would mean every video game has a liminal space within them, which is correct. We've seen many games with hallways that connect two parts of the game together. So hallways are the only liminal space, right? Interestingly enough, that's not the case. Empty malls and stores could also be a liminal space. But why? Well, think of it like this. When a store closes and the employees leave, it has now entered a transitional period from when the store is closed to when it will now open again, thus becoming a liminal space. Spooky. But when people look at these images, they look unsettling. Something about seeing a place that is meant to have people in it, but instead completely empty, feels wrong. Exploring these areas must feel like a dream. What if we're trapped in this dream? What if this dream was actually a nightmare? Superliminal is a perfect example of a liminal space game. In this game, you are stuck within a seemingly never-ending loop of dreams, where your character is able to pick up objects and have them grow or shrink depending on your movements and the way you change your perception of the item, solving puzzles as you find your way out of this never-ending nightmare. Now, this game checks off all the boxes of being a liminal space game. I mean, they literally have it in the freaking title. But something's a bit off about me talking about this game. This isn't really a horror game. Yes, the concept of being stuck in an endless dream, or rather a nightmare, is pretty terrifying. This game isn't really made to be scary. Okay, maybe some sections of the game are actually really scary, but the main focus was around puzzle solving. Another example of a liminal space game back in the day was the Stanley Parable, where you play as a man named Stanley who was in an office building all alone. This one was more on the silly side.
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
With the narrator of the game constantly judging your every move.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Both of these games are great introductions to the liminal space genre. They both show off how strange, yet also familiar, these empty spaces can be. From empty hotel rooms to an entire empty office building.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all.
These are a perfect example of liminal games that were made before the genre-defining event. Honestly, these are some of the best games I've played. You should definitely check them out. But I'm not here to talk about those games in detail, because before this one specific event, there weren't many liminal space horror games. After this event, there was an explosion of different liminal space games created. Some of them good, and some of them, not great. I'm talking, of course, about Kane Pixel's Backrooms series. You may have seen this video before. I mean, like 60 million of you have definitely seen this video. It's a short experience of a man getting no-clipped out of reality into the back rooms. A strange liminal world with fluorescent lights and yellow wallpaper, eventually bumping into a strange, grotesque monster that chases him around when suddenly he pops back into reality but in the sky, leading to his fatal fall. After this video was released, we saw a huge amount of liminal space horror games releasing, most of them taking place in the back rooms, and others with a similar formula but uniquely different. I love this genre of games so much. Something about these spooky, empty settings really sets off my brain. It's like even though I know this place is empty, and I know that most of the time there aren't any monsters, I still have an extreme sense of dread while walking around these empty halls. Why do they look like this? Where is everyone? And am I truly alone? Wait a second, this footage isn't from the Kane Pixels Backroom series. That's the Complex Expedition. We'll start things off with what I think is a perfect example of a great liminal space horror game. Taking an immense inspiration from Kane Pixel, the Complex Expedition takes place during a scientific exploration into the back rooms. Your character, who's conveniently holding the camera, is teleported away from his companions. You must find your way back while exploring a wide variety of areas in the back rooms. By the start, you can see that this game looks amazing. They did a really good job making it look like you're seeing everything through the perspective of an old camera. You could even mess with the zoom function of the camera to get some really neat cinematic effects. The camera in the game will also make you feel like your monitor needs to be cleaned, as if you have any light shining onto it, you'll see these smudges on the camera lens. Alright, come on man, just take a moment to wipe off the lens. Please, just clean it off! Here, I'll do it for you. The level designs in the game are fantastic. It feels like a gigantic maze that you'll get easily lost in trying to find the exit. One moment, you'll be in the classic yellow wallpaper room, and in the next, you'll be in an area that looks like a regular house. Well, maybe the layout is not regular. It makes you think why this is all here. Why does it all look like this? For whom was it made for? And especially, are we alone? This is the feeling that this game gets so right. Picture yourself in this situation. You wake up in this strange back rooms area. The walls and rooms are seemingly random at all points. It feels like you're almost in a dream. Rooms that are oddly familiar, but warped into complete randomness. You would get this feeling to explore the area, to see what these rooms have to offer. But then you hear it. Off in the distance, you hear a bang, like something hitting the floor, or maybe someone knocking something over. You don't know what it is. You don't know if it's following you around. Suddenly, the dream that you're in becomes a nightmare. You'll check over your shoulder every so often, feeling tense as if something is there, and then eventually, this thing shows itself to you. This game is possibly one of the best liminal horror games out there, without any jump scares, chase scenes, or gore. It's just you wandering around a dream world, so we can look at what this game has done for other liminal space horror games. It's got a fantastic atmosphere, a backrooms world with many areas to explore, all of which have a variety of rooms that don't look similar to one another, great sound design that will keep you on edge, and a monster that is not the game's main focus. Speaking of dream worlds, we have a game that is on the complete opposite end of graphics. Within the backrooms is a trip. Everything about it screams a weird dream world. You'll walk around discovering new areas to explore, almost as if each doorway you walk to will bring you into a whole new world. You'll explore an area just to turn around and notice that the door behind you is completely vanished. While not as scary as the other games we'll talk about, the music combined with these strange areas really adds a creepy factor to the game, especially when you stumble upon an open roof tile and discover it's actually a door you can go through. Hey there. Is your friend over there okay? Within the backrooms is an amazing trip, and I definitely recommend you try it out. This game really shows off that these liminal space games don't always have to look amazing for them to be a great experience. So Within the Backrooms does a really great job with its atmosphere, having unique rooms to explore with a heavy emphasis on dreamlike world, a great unsettling soundtrack, and many strange creatures that are surprisingly not there to be scary. Wow, the Backrooms must be such an amazing place. I would move in there myself, but I wish I could knock down this wall to open up the space. Oh no! A freaky monster! Say hello to Backrooms Break. This game is, well, it certainly is a game. Imagine taking everything about the Backrooms, the random rooms and hallways. Now we fill it up with some monsters and give the player a magical sledgehammer and various guns to fight the monsters and break down every wall we see. This sounds pretty nice on paper, but if we zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture, we have a game that's just okay, I guess. This game doesn't really have much memorable about it, other than the wall breaking mechanic, which sadly gets very old very quickly. And fighting the monsters isn't really difficult at all. They're just a minor inconvenience at most. The one and only thing that will actually do damage to you is the mimic you'll see later on. The guns that they will give you as well are not that great, the only memorable one being the shotgun that shoots explosive rounds with each shot. I can kinda see the vision they wanted to go with this game. Instead of being like, oh no, help me, I'm trapped in the back rooms, and you're instead like, all right, bet. It feels like this game just needed a little bit more time to cook in the oven. All the levels feel the same, just box-shaped rooms all over the place, and the same monsters over and over again. They probably could have added more spookier monsters in the game, but at least you get to bonk them with your discount Mjolnir. Alright, so this one wasn't scary at all. What if we take the Backrooms and made it into a traditional horror game? The Backrooms 1988 found footage. Wow, that title really seems like they were trying to hit all the same keywords as the King Pixels video. In this game, you are a skateboarder who has fallen into the back rooms. Your objective is to find your way out while avoiding a child monster who is hunting you down. When playing this game, you'll immediately notice that little microphone that reacts every time you speak. Yep, the monster can hear you through your microphone. There's a lot of great jump scares in this game. You see, the game attempts to jump scare you like all the time to get you to scream, thus having the monster get attracted to your location. Though this shifts the focus over from the liminal space to the monster. So even though this is a Backrooms game, I don't really see it as a liminal space horror game. Overall, I feel like this game is okay, but goddamn, do you get lost very easily in this game. So finding all the things you need to end the game can take quite some time. As a horror game, this game is great. It has all the typical beats of any other horror game. What it lacks is in its creepy liminal aspect. In the beginning, the environment is creepy and unsettling, but the moment the monster shows up, the game shifts its focus towards it, filling itself up with jump scares. It's like if you were to take the Backrooms setting and change it into anything else, the game would remain the same. Wow, these games are starting to get real scary. I wish I could play these with a friend, if I had any friends. The Backrooms Wreck is a liminal horror game where you and your friends can team up and escape the dreaded horrors of the Backrooms. You'll spawn in with your friends and... Wait a second. Is this another game that only takes place in level 0 of the Backrooms? Originally, when this game came out, they only had one level available to play, which was level 0 of the Backrooms. You know, the yellow wallpapers, the fluorescent lights. When I started playing all these liminal space games, I began to notice a pattern with a few of them. They'll try their best to look as great as they can, with different lighting effects and or camera effects, which usually made them run really bad on my PC. I have a pretty beefy PC, so I was surprised when most of these games would run pretty poorly on it. The other thing is that each of them will always have these two levels within them, level 0 and the pool rooms. I'm assuming this is because these two levels are very easy to make. I wish we would see more of them try out something different, rather than seeing the same setting over and over and over again. This game seemed very promising at first. Looking at the Steam page, they really have some impressive screenshots, but most of these are not in the game, at least not yet, as it's in early access. But overall, the gameplay loop in this game is not that fun. Outside of the story mode, you'll explore randomly generated levels, all with the same objective of finding the exit door, then finding each number of the code needed to open the door. Every so often, you'll have a monster spawn that will attempt to attack you. If you survive long enough, they'll just despawn and you'll go back to finding those numbers. Maybe with future updates, they'll add more interesting mechanics, but that's all I can really say about this game. This game does a great job with its looks, and overall seems like it could be very promising. The fact that it is in early access makes me hesitate on rating how great it does does as a liminal space game. For now, I'll just say it's a decent game across the board. You should definitely pay attention to its updates. You know what? I'm sick of the yellow wallpaper. I want a game that doesn't take place in the back rooms. I wonder if there is any. Whoa, what the fuck? Animoipolis. How the fuck do you say this? Animoipolis. In this game, you play as a repairman who falls through a trap door to a strange facility. Just like the back rooms, these levels are all strange, dreamlike versions of real-life areas, such as office spaces, locker rooms, malls, or even movie theaters. Each of these levels are little bite-sized experiences that are not as large as many of the other games we've already talked about, but I can appreciate the effort of trying out something new, rather than using the same backroom setting over and over again. This game also has a unique ticket gathering mechanic. In each level, you can find rolls of tickets that you can collect, each adding a certain amount of tickets into your total count. This is an interesting way to reward you for exploring each level, but it can be annoying if it halts your progression, just because you decided to not look around for tickets on the floor. But overall, this is one decent experience. Not the greatest, but not the worst. It also looks like there might be a second game coming out in the future. I hope in the next one they have much larger levels to explore. Its small, bite-sized adventures are a great introduction into the liminal space horror genre. Also, that mini golf level sucks. I guess it's sort of impressive that it procedurally generated a mini golf course, but I'm here to explore empty rooms, not play mini golf in a confined area. Alright, this was a decent non-backrooms game, but what if we filled it with horrific monsters, all of which hunt you down and constantly try to kill you instantly? And what if it took place in a school? The Classrooms, wow, they really got creative with that name. The Classrooms is a terrifying experience. You play as a man searching for their younger sibling who has mysteriously disappeared within their school. When entering the school, he is transported into a new area, a backroom-style school that is filled with monsters. The setting for this game is kinda cool. It's almost like a mix between the SCP Foundation and the backrooms. You'll find documents detailing the monsters you'll find within the space, which include a creepy baby doll that acts like a weeping angel, an ear monster in a library that really hates sound, a man with elongated arms and legs, and whatever this super creepy snake head lady is. This game is the best non-backrooms liminal game I know of. While you explore this creepy, randomly generated empty school, you are chased down by horrific monsters. Careful, this one will also listen to your microphone to attract the monsters. Out of all of these games, this one has the best monsters. Just look at these things. They're terrifying. There were many moments when playing this game I was cowering in fear, planning out what I should do to avoid these things. This one is also in early access, so I'm very excited to see what else the developer will add to the game. The randomly generated levels in this game add a unique twist to the liminal horror genre, and exploring these places while creatures are after you makes it all more terrifying. I'm even scared about filming scenes for this game for the video. It's really, really good. Now let's take avoiding scary monsters, the back rooms, and multiplayer and smash it all together into a new game. Escape the Backrooms is the best Backrooms multiplayer game so far. In this game, you and your friends must survive multiple levels of the Backrooms. Finally, new levels of the Backrooms that aren't just yellow wallpaper and pools. This game is such a fun experience to play with your friends. Each level provides a unique challenge that you must overcome to proceed, like avoiding the partygoers by sneaking past them in a stealth-like mission, or surviving an attack from a killer clown in an empty circus. My favorite being this empty town. All you have to do is go inside each house and send out a signal to open a gate. But patrolling the street is this creepy eyeball monster, and inside of the house are strange humanoid creatures, keeping you on edge at all times, and having to lock yourself in rooms to avoid being bombed. Playing this game with your friends is so much fun. Exploring the liminal worlds while avoiding monsters at the same time provides such a unique experience. Some of the monsters can be quite annoying. I'm talking about this dumb dog monster, but overall, this game is a top tier Backrooms multiplayer game. I'll quickly mention another Backrooms multiplayer game called Backrooms Survival. This game looked promising to me at first, a survival horror version of the Backrooms, but man, if you have not seen this game is loud, like super loud. All of the monsters scream at you. There are jump scares that will blow out your eardrums. I quickly gave up on playing this game because of it. I just don't like it. So what makes a good liminal space horror game? Well, if you don't want monsters chasing you around, you should try to make it as atmospheric as possible. Get your players immersed into a new world and add subtle sounds that will scare the heck out of them. Even if there isn't a monster around, this will get them paranoid of the possibility of one being there. And it would also be funny having them act like a crazed schizo, claiming every other moment that they heard or seen a monster. If there are monsters chasing the player, try to have them not be the main focus of the game. The strange, wacky world should be the main focus of these games. You need the world to be interesting if you want them to explore it. If it is a multiplayer game, make sure the gameplay loop is fun. And don't blow out their eardrums. Please? Why is it so loud? And I know level 0 and the pool rooms are popular, but these games are all going to feel the same if those two levels are the only things in these games. We need more unique settings to keep it all fresh. Thank you again for watching. Check out the Twitch channel. You may catch me playing one of these liminal space games there. Let me know your favorite level of the Backrooms in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. See ya.